on the screen test, I remember the screen test, it was the first time I dressed as Chairman Fred. And I walked into the studio and the first person I saw was Chairman Junior. And it was so intense because he never met his dad, you know? And he hugged me, it felt like an hour, you know? It was a really intense time. I can't really describe what that was, but I completely understood it.
I was very, very shocked to see how, like, physically, how you and William O'Neill kind of looked. But when it came to, you know, he embarks on a journey of betrayal. So although you can physically embody someone, did you ever come to a crossroads? Did you have to kind of sort of push away your morals? What was your first feeling and taking up William as a role?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Dominique in terms of there being a point where my body couldn't differentiate the experience from reality. So I was having physical reactions and reacting to what I felt was a betrayal of my own morals within the character and questioning whether or not I was doing the right thing by even playing this character. Someone that had done something that I found so reprehensible. It was something that I battled with throughout the duration of the shoot, for sure.
One of my favorite shots, I know I keep talking about shots, but I just think it's just put together so perfectly, is when William kind of storms out of the headquarters and we just see the whole him slamming the door and getting into the car from the backseat perspective. Dominique, you know what I'm talking about? And I felt so included in that moment. I was like, oh, because we know that he's basically playing two different people. Was that really important? Obviously, this film is told through the eyes of William about the life of Chairman Fred Hampton and the congregation and the Black Panthers. Was it really important? I suppose this is for either Shaka or Charles. Was it very important for you to kind of like have the audience be in the know, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in a lot of ways, this is a movie about the dangers of being apolitical and about, not just William O'Neill's, dastardly deeds, but also his immaturity. So you have to sort of pick and choose those moments in the movie to kind of highlight those two things. And, as a criminal, he's an adrenaline junkie. He thrives on manipulating. And, ultimately it's a cautionary tale about how his enjoyment of manipulating others catches up to him. But in order for that to pay off, you have to see the joy in manipulating others. So you see it when he steals the car and he gets away with it and he's on a high. You see it when he manipulates Harmon and Jimmy Palmer, and talks his way out of, their accusations that he's an informant. And you see it in that moment when he is able to sow division within the party, and he's enjoying it, and he's enjoying it, and he's enjoying it. And then, his last moment of manipulation is when he drugs Fred. He doesn't enjoy that shit at all, So you gotta layer those moments in so that when you get to that last one, it's like, oh yeah, that's the knife,
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to go back because you mentioned earlier, Shaka, that LaKeith, you got hold of some footage, and I know that Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. was a part of the process. He was a consultant during the filming of the movie. Was that something that you kind of spoke to him about? Did you have like a great connection with him personally?
You talking about me?
Yes, you. Sorry, LaKeith.
No, I mean, before the film, not really. It wasn't until we get into the thick of making it that I would have conversations with him really afterward, because I just felt I kind of wanted to keep my distance from everybody and kind of just stay in the zone of it. So I didn't want to get too wrapped up in getting close with the family members who were there helping us throughout the whole time. Yeah, how I got that footage shall remain a secret.
Oh, okay. That's all You can keep that one. I appreciate that. But for you, Daniel, how was that having his son be a part of it? Did you do the same as LaKeith? Did you kind of like keep it separate?
I mean, no, we one of the reasons I went to Chicago by myself because I really wanted to meet the family. I really wanted to sit down with the family. I wanted to see them, and on that trip, it couldn't happen. And then we went to Chicago again. Me, Dom, Charles, Shaka, Ryan, everyone, Will Burson, Niger, and we had like a 7-8 hour conversation with Chairman Fred Jr. And I remember, yeah, it was interesting. It was intense, and then that was really. And then I remember on the screen test. It was the first time I dressed as Chairman Fred, and I walked into the studio, and the first person I saw was Chairman Jr. And it was so intense because he never met his dad, you know, and he hugged me. It felt like an hour, you know. It was a really intense time. I can't really describe what that was, but I completely understood it. And it was just incredible to have him a part of it, you know, and Mama Kua, and just have their support, and he would be so supportive of me, and in between takes, but we kind of stayed out of each other's way because it was just intense. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
It was a privilege to have him a part of it, and Mama Kua.
I suppose if you physically embody someone that he's only ever seen, you know, through probably photos, videos, whatever he is, you know, taking in his own father, like physically, Daniel, I'm not gonna lie, like you must have put in a lot of work. When you did those push-ups in the gym, I was like, okay, all right.
I remember there was one time I did a fitting with Charlize Antoinette, incredible costume designer of this, and then I was like, nah, my wrists are too skinny, man. I can't even do this. And I just went crazy. I just ate everything. Just started lifting just the craziest weights and just deadlifting like any time off. But then what I would do would be great because I would like listen to my dialect classes whilst in the gym. You know what I'm saying? So I was getting double bucks. I was like taking in and like kind of readdressing mistakes I was making in the dialect and this is that and the other, and like realigning myself. But yeah, I just for me, it was not about a kind of number. It was more of a feeling. There was a kind of like how Chairman Fred moved. There was a weight, there was a gravity to him that I was reaching for. And if the minute I got there, I was like, oh, yeah, cool. I just felt like just a weight, and then it was just broad shoulders and XYZ. My friend George helped me out as well. Yeah.
That big leather jacket and the shirt. Like there was many layers there.
There was a lot of layers, but it was very cold in Cleveland, so layers were welcomed.
What I noticed is I feel like I'm just picking apart the film, but I was just in a beautiful way, is that when there were scenes where Chairman Fred had like the authority or the power, not even authority, he just had like this like energy that was just powerful. But when it was emotional, it was very plain. It was t-shirt, black t-shirt or white t-shirt, very plain.
Yeah.
I wanted to speak to you, Dominique, because I was really interested in, obviously done all research. At the time of getting the role, I heard that you were writing something, which was, I'm very into energy. And so when I heard this about you, I was like, of course, it's very, very simple. That you were at the time writing, was it like a Romeo and Juliet type project or film, which was based around the Black Panthers?
Yeah, so I'm a epic romantic. So what I like to say is you never know why you attract to certain things. I was reading A Taste of Power by Elaine Brown, who was a Panther in the Oakland chapter, and so I was getting that perspective of the women in the Panther Party, and I didn't even know that Shaka was doing this. So when it kind of came into my email that he wanted to meet me, I was like, oh, this is interesting, because I was writing a show called Gwendolyn and Sekou, which is the Panther kind of Romeo and Juliet. But even before that, I find it interesting that, Daniel talked about this before, how Chairman would listen to Malcolm and Martin's speeches like every morning. And it was a time in my life, I think 2019 early, where I was doing that every single day. I didn't know, but I was listening to Malcolm and Martin, and really trying to understand. And so there's a line that Deb says to Fred in the movie. She's like, I listen to him every morning. He doesn't get flustered with his words. I like to be like that. And it really came from me. We were trying to figure out the scene, and I told Shaka, he was like, this is perfect. So I feel like everything was aligning in that way. And also just like to piggyback off of that, like Shaka is the most collaborative person, like director that I've ever met, that I've ever known. And so when I start to direct and create, I want to be just like you, Shaka.
I think we'd all like to be a bit like Shaka.
Thanks, Tom.